Your next lie will cost your tongue.
Hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Justin Rose, and I'm the author of the fantasy series, Tales of Rehavan. Currently, I'm working on the production of a full-cast audio drama titled Fall of Ingway. The sound design is by Daniel Bell, and the score is by Michael Hyman. Today, we'll be interviewing another cast member, Cody Goedel. The music you currently hear, and which will close out the episode, is Scene 4 Intro by Michael Hyman. Enjoy. So I'm Justin Rose, author of the project, and you are?
I'm Cody Goedel. I'm the voice of Asher and I believe a few other small roles as well.
Yeah, so I have you written down here as Asher, and then also you did Orwick, which was a smaller but also fairly fun, prominent
Yeah.
roles. Yeah, and then a couple of the well, actually quite a lot of the guards and background characters.
Yeah.
I think there were two of you who got a whole bunch of background characters, you and a
Yeah.
fellow named Killian, because I was like, these guys have really good voices, but the roles I have them for don't have a ton of screen time, so they'd be perfect to flesh out the rest of this stuff.
Right.
Uh, so where are you from?
I'm actually from Chicago. So I'm closer to the city, but not actually in Chicago.
Sure.
So just in the suburbs.
Yeah. And how long have you been acting?
I started voice acting about 3 years ago. This is going to be one of my bigger projects, believe it or not. I recently I was actually the voice of Ghostface in a fan film for Scream.
It's cool.
So probably about 3 years, I would say. Yeah, it's been about 3 years since I started.
And what got you started on doing it?
Actually, it was doing voice impressions. I just started doing voice impressions on TikTok just for fun because I found out that I was pretty decent at it. And then I was like, well, voice acting is also pretty awesome. Maybe I should try at that. And it just kind of took off from there.
Well, that's fun. So you still pretty active with the TikTok stuff then?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you want to give a shout out to your handle and people feel free to look it up.
I'm actually the impressionist, which is the underscore impression 1st. On there, I do a bunch of different voice impressions. I also just do random stupid videos whenever I'm bored. I think I'm sitting at 136,000 followers now.
Cool. Yeah, it's a good following. It's awesome. So did you have any background in like training acting classes or do anything in college or anything for it or
Not in college. I did take a couple classes with some people that are actually in the business. There was a class that I took with this company called Voices Carry. That's actually where I ended up getting my demo reel made, was from them. And then I took a couple classes with another voice actor. And up next, I actually have a class with Moxie from Hell of a Boss.
and what sort of performances do you enjoy? Like what sort of jobs do you find most interesting?
As far as voice acting goes, I would have to say the villain work. Villains are always the most fun to work with because you can just make them insane. There's no, what's the word I'm looking for? There's really no script to them. You can just make them however you want. And they're the most fun for me to work with.
Been the most memorable, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like in a story like this one, you know, there's a lot of gods and minotaurs and kings and stuff, and your role was Asher, and it might have been easy to overlook somewhat, but because you know he's kind of more of a human character, more normal. But he's honestly one of my favorite characters in the story, just because he represents kind of like the old mythic idea of like a Death Eater, where like he's the guy who's kind of carrying out all the darker things that the character of Godry would have to carry the weight of otherwise. And
Right.
so I really like him as a character, just the fact that he's able to have these kind of darker scenes, like the interrogation scene, which I think you did for your audition,
Yeah.
which was really good. And then also some of the more tender scenes where he's like relating to the king's daughter and stuff as almost like an uncle.
Yeah.
And I thought you did a great job kind of balancing that. And I really
Well,
appreciated
thank
your
you.
work on that because, like I said, he's one, even though he's not the biggest main character. He's one of my favorites just because he has that kind of a duality to him.
Yeah, I actually really like that about him too, where it's like you can actually see both sides of him just evolve throughout the entire project. I think, like you said, my favorite part was whenever it got past that interrogation scene where you can actually just see him kind of start to change. Like he just goes into like, we've got to finish the rest of this.
Mm,
And
yeah.
it was dark, but it was good.
And was there anything that you were like keyed in on that you really wanted to get across in your performance? Was there any like specific note that you were like, I'd really like to kind of like hit this beat or something?
So I think it was actually during the scene where he's more of like an uncle. Like I really wanted to show that he had that human side still, but he was still carrying the weight of everything else from his past too. But you could kind of tell that when he was basically describing about the war in that one scene when he was describing to her how they were going to win the war. Like these are how these things go. I've been through it.
On the rampart there. Yeah. If there was another role in the production that you would have liked to do, were there any other ones that had like struck you like that would have been fun? I know you said you like the villains, and there are a few of those there.
Yeah. Um Believe it or not, actually the one that struck me the most was Ingway.
Okay. Yeah.
And he wasn't a villain, but it was more the way that his character was portrayed that I really liked. Just the fact that he was that god. He was the god of death.
Moving away from this production, is there anything that you've done in the past that you're kind of like really proud of that's like one of your favorite things that you've worked on?
That's going to be that Scream film that I worked on.
Okay.
That was really fun being able to play the killer in the movie.
Mhm.
Like it, again, you can just do whatever you want with killers. They're insane. There's no real like criteria for them. You can make them however you want as long as they're nuts.
Do you have anything coming up that you're working on?
Not yet, but I do have a couple auditions that I was called in for that hopefully I get those because they're pretty decent. I
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I get those.
Yeah. So do you do like entirely voice work, or do you also look for like live work or live action work or anything like that?
I haven't done any live action work yet. I wanted to get my foot in the door with the voice acting first,
Mhm.
just that way I can get some practice with acting in itself.
Yeah, sure.
Eventually, I'll probably move to camera work as well, but I really love voice acting just because you can bring these characters to life and with just your voice, and I find that really cool.
It's always been one of my favorite mediums. Like for me too, this is the first project like this that I've also done. So,
Yeah,
I'm on the other side of it, just, writing obviously, but like the um the opportunity to mix other talents to be able to bring in, the input of a composer for the music and the input of a sound designer for,
yeah,
structuring things and the input of the actors to give the characters life. It's a very satisfying experience. It's very
and
interesting to see.
right, and just being able to build the whole project, I feel like that would be pretty cool too.
And where can people find out more about you? Like, do you have any prominent? So I know you mentioned TikTok earlier, but like, do you have any other like social media or a website or anything that you use for your voice acting profile?
No websites yet. I have to get someone to actually design that for me because I'm not that good at it.
Fair.
So I got to get someone to actually build that for me. The main place where you can see me even doing like voice acting practice just for fun is going to be on TikTok.
Okay, jolly good. All right, and so I guess that's most of the stuff I had for you. Just like to say that I have been blown away by all the people who worked on this project. I've really enjoyed your guys' performances, and if I get another script like this down the road, I'll for sure be sending out, invites to the people who worked on this one to audition, and
Awesome.
hopefully see you in Rehavan again.
Oh,
Um,
for sure.
so in closing, couple of quick get to know you questions. Who's your favorite actor? It's your field. Who do you look up to?
My favorite actor is actually going to be Elijah Wood. That's
Okay.
because he's in one of my favorite movies of all time, or actually, it is my favorite movie of all time, which is Lord of the Rings.
Mhm.
I love fantasy films, and that's the one that stuck with me the most. And Elijah Wood, he's like also one of the nicest people on the planet, from what I've heard, too. So I just really liked what he worked on and how he acts.
I can't say I've seen him in many other roles, but I do love him in Lord of the Rings. Like his his eyes. Like he has a real knack for acting with just his eyes alone.
Yeah.
That's super impressive.
People actually
What's
asked him if his eyes were digitally enhanced for that movie.
mhm.
They weren't, but people have
Yeah,
asked him that.
you totally could believe it though.
Yeah.
I know they did something with some of the characters' eyes in that movie, like Galadriel. I think they had like a whole special lighting rig that they like hung up to reflect light in her eyes and
Yeah.
stuff.
To
So
where it made it look
wouldn't have
like
been
the
surprising.
stars. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's your what's your favorite book or story or
My favorite book? That is a tough one because I've read quite a few. Right now I'm actually reading it's gone. A Court of Thorns and Roses. It's actually pretty good. My
I have
girlfriend
not read
ended up
that
getting
one,
me
but
into it.
I hear it mentioned all the time at the conventions I go. Like I'll go to cons to sell
Yeah.
my books and stuff, and people are always talking about that one. So
Yeah. My girlfriend got me to read it and I was just like, all right, I'm sold. This is pretty dang good.
nice. And any favorite movie?
Lord of the Rings, hands
Okay,
down.
yeah, excellent. Hard to beat that one.
Right.
Yeah. And very last question, favorite song or musician?
Ooh. I actually don't really have one that I can pick.
Okay,
My favorite song. I love music, so I can't pick my favorite song. My favorite genre though is actually going to be lo-fi.
cool. You heard
Uh
of Akira the Dawn by any chance?
no.
Okay. He's like he his stuff is kind of unusual, but he classifies it as lo-fi and a lot of it he'll take like lectures and different speeches and stuff and kind of like
Yeah.
set a beat to it and like kind of re-loop some of the lines and stuff, but
That's pretty
it's
cool.
kind of lo-fi hip hop sound is kind of what it has. So
Yeah.
uh, but hey, it was really good meeting you, man. And thank you for
Nice to
taking the
meet you
time to
too.
do this interview. It's kind of fun
Sure.
just to be able to give the audience a chance to hear a little bit about the people involved.
Right. And it's actually nice to talk to you in person now too.
Absolutely. It's so weird, man. Like there's people on this project from, all over the US, then from Canada, England, Netherlands, and just it's this age we live in where you can just connect
All over the
electronically
planet.
so easily without ever actually meeting. It's
Yeah.
weird.
It's awesome.
But yeah.
It makes this
Uh,
work a lot easier.
oh, for sure. Yeah, I would not have access to the talent that I've been able to find for this at any other time in history, you
Right.
know. But so thank you again very much, and it was a pleasure meeting you. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks. You too. Have a good one.
Lord Duty, I have served you this night and made one sacrifice already. I come now with another sacrifice in my hands and a plea upon my lips. Take this axe. Take from me everything I have ever done with it. Every moment I have used it to serve you. Impart these deeds instead to Olvin, the seed merchant, who tonight must face the gods. Judge him kindly. Please. Tell me, Reaper, before I face my judges, did I live well?